Hello and welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger on Halloween 2021, which is October 31st, of course, just like any other Halloween. That pretty much goes without saying. Halloween is one of those occasions that tend to bring up a lot of memories for a lot of people. Uh, I have my own good and bad memories of Halloween from the past, from my uh, tumultuous, rather eventful childhood. But I would say I stopped celebrating Halloween rather early on. Uh, Life was like a raging sea that tend to toss me hither and thither, and because of that, I was uh, sort of forced to grow up really fast, and Halloween became a thing that other people was able to enjoy, go to parties, go to trick or treat, while I was mostly concerned with, well, survival, to put it in a more dramatic term. But today, I don't want to talk about that because last week's Mindful Monday was such a heavy episode, uh, and I feel that this week we need something lighter, a little bit easier to digest. As some of you might have seen in a Quickie with Johnny Tiger and Kitten, uh, a couple of weeks ago, Kitten and I took a trip to uh, the harbor city of Nanaimo for some night strike business, and we were able to uh, crash at uh, my good friend Remy and his wife Chelsea's home. Stayed there overnight. They were extremely generous. I don't know if Remy watches my videos, but if you do, then again, Kitten and I extend our most heartfelt thanks. You and your family were wonderful. Without you, the trip would have been a lot more stressful, and you made it all worthwhile. In the end, it was very wonderful. So yeah, thanks, man. It's really appreciate it. And Kate and I we already been talking about if you and your family don't mind us uh, imposing ourselves upon you, then maybe somewhere down the line we'll come for a visit. This time, maybe a proper visit, so we are not rushing in and rushing out next day. This time we can actually get to sit down and have a proper meal together, everybody. But anyway, we will talk about that when we are not on the video for the whole world to see. Not like the whole world watches my video anyway, but one can always hope. So today I want to talk about when I met Remy. Remy and I go back a long way, as most of my friends and I tend to do. But when I say we go back a long way, we really do. I'm turning 40 this December. Yay. That's just kind of depressing to think about. Um, so Remy and I, we met each other when we were, oh, if I have to guess, 15 years old, 16, somewhere around that. I believe we were 15. Maybe I know he's 1 year younger than me, so he might have been 15 and me 16. We met at a summer camp. and we were fortunate enough to be roommates. I say fortunate because a lot of time when you go to a summer camp, you don't know who you are going to bunk up with. You don't know if the roommate you are going to have is going to be obnoxious or going to be slovenly or going to be very OCD or just someone who is going to drive you crazy. You have very little control over that. So to have a roommate with whom you have to spend the next week and a half with, and then you are able to cement a friendship out of that. A friendship that is still holding strong after 20 odd years. That takes a great deal of luck. The kind of luck that I must say I have been blessed with uh, in my life a lot. I seem to have the fortune and wealth of uh, having good people just coming into my life at many different junctions. I'm not very good at making money, but I am very good at drawing good people to my side. So, summer of, uh, I would say, let's just say 1997 or 98, somewhere around that, I arrived at the summer camp and was introduced to my roommate. And as we started to uh, chat, I realized that amazingly, this guy was pretty cool. And believe me, when I was a teenager, I was just snobbish enough to believe that most people were not very cool. So for me to feel that this person was okay really showed a lot in Raimi's favor, even as young as he was. Um, we found out that we were both uh, aspiring writers and authors, and we were both working on our masterpiece, our the greatest work that's going to make us millions of dollars. And he read some of his books to me, and I showed him some of the stuff I was working on. He was a very good roommate. He wasn't noisy. He wasn't dramatic. For the most part, he minded his own business. He was clean. He took care of his side of the room. I took care of my side of the room, and he worked on his book. I worked on my book, and we occasionally compare notes, comparing notes on what we're working on, and we would share thoughts and opinions on books that we have read. I remember that summer camp very, very well. Uh, that was the summer camp that I got tasked to write a full-on play, a stage play for the talent night 3 days, 3 bloody days before the talent show was supposed to take place. Just like that. Hey Johnny, we heard that you write a lot. Do you think you can help us out? We don't have enough people for the talent show, so we thought maybe rather than doing everyone doing their talent, we want to do a stage play. Can you come up with something? Now, the kind of person I am now, I would say I can't. It's too rushed. I don't work like that. I would gracefully turn down the proposal. When I was a teenager, however, I was very, very, very driven, very proud of what I could do, and I saw it as a challenge. So I said, no problem. 3 days. I will give you a play. I'll give you a play in 2 days, and we still have one day to put together a cast. and then we can rehearse, and then we can get the show going. I made the promise. So for the next 2 days, I had very, very little sleep. Remy and I wrote, and wrote a lot in our room. Him on his book, me converting the book I was working on into an instant stage play, which is a lot more complicated than one may realize because when you're writing a novel, you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And then you tend to fill out that beginning, middle, and end with enough details so they have their own beginning, middle, and end. So it's like you start with the main trunk of the tree and you start filling out branches, branches, branches. You want to make this a gigantic novel with a great new world that you build and a new set of circumstances and situations and characters. Each character will have their background, and each character's background would have other characters that really matter to them. Because you need to fill out your characters to make people sympathetic and be able to relate to them. When you suddenly want to take that and pare it down into a stage play, a 20-minute stage play, suitable for non-professional, then you got a job on your hand. It like you take this giant tree that you work so hard on growing, trim away all the leaves, trim away most of the branches, and yet you still need it to be recognizable. Uh, So you got to trim away all those details you work on so hard to build and leave enough of the story intact so it can still be followed by the audience. It was a giant, massive undertaking. I'd say for the next 2 days, I slept maybe 5 hours. This resulted in the beginning of a lifetime addiction to coffee. Prior to this undertaking, I did not drink coffee. I did not like coffee. I thought the taste was awful. I remember the first night after I agreed to write the play. About 3 in the morning, I wandered into the lounge area, the cafeteria area, bleary eyed and barely standing on my feet, all kind of character dialogues and scenarios running through my head, and the uh, staff member who was in charge at the cafeteria asked me, "Well, why are you up? What can I help you with? Are you hungry? You need something to eat?" And I said, "I need coffee. I need something. The stronger the better. I need to stay awake because I need to write a play in 2 days." So that began uh, my association, my addiction to coffee. But in 2 days, I finished the play, and in another day, we put together a impromptu cast of members, and the stage was, if not the success that I thought it was going to be, relatively successful with a few glitches. It turned. My original goal was to be a heroic, epic play, but it turned out a little bit more like a comedy because of all the uh, bloopers and glitches we had. Hey, we only had one day to rehearse. What can I say? Um, I believe Remy even starred in the play. I think he was actually the villain in the play. This play and this novel, first novel that I was working on, was titled The Dragon's Blood, which later was uh, rewritten and uh, revised for a much bigger cast. And for the year that I graduated from high school, it was performed much more professionally by my high school drama class, led by none other than Miss Jane Kennegal, my old uh, art teacher, whom Kitten and I will be getting together with for lunch this coming Wednesday. Really looking forward to that. Now, this is for the most part, in most other tales, this would be the end of Raimi and myself association. Because after the summer camp, he went back to where he lived, I went back to where I lived, and we did not live anywhere near each other. Uh, and life went on. I would finish up high school, going to college, finishing university, and Raimi would, in his turn, would do the same. In most other encounters, in most other stories, this would have been it. This would be where I tell you, that was such a good memory, and I wish that he's doing okay, and I wish that uh, I would see him again someday. Now, fortunately for us, this tale of Raimi, myself, and the dragon's blood had a much happier ending. When Raimi and I crossed paths again, it was 2013, 2000, maybe 2014. I can't remember if we crossed paths on a gaming mailing list or on some martial art related, self-defense related topic. His name popped up in my inbox, and immediately I said, I know this guy. Wow, I knew this guy. I wonder how he is. He was such a cool kid. So I reached out to him and he responded and we renewed our friendship. Remy was now much older, of course, and so was I. Now he was the husband of a very beautiful, kind wife, the father to a newborn daughter. He was uh, a 9 to 5 man, you can say. He had a steady daily job at the bank. He was living in large part like what you would call the good old American dream. He had a career, he had a profession, he had uh, a family. Me, on the other hand, I was now a worn out leader of a band that was once more successful than it was now. I was a struggling singer, songwriter, a relatively accomplished martial artist, and I had my own uh, filming opportunities and documentaries on the horizon. Our life had taken us down very, very different paths, and yet we were so similar in many ways that you know how some people say that somewhere in the world there's another person exactly like you? Well, I wouldn't say that Raimi is exactly like me, but I always feel that Raimi reminds me of a version of me in an alternate reality. Our life has taken so many different turns. We have enjoyed a much different lifestyle, but we were both still deeply into writing, reading fantasy books. We're both really into video games. We were both seriously into music and enthusiastic about martial art. And I dare say that at the core, we were both very decent human beings that try our best to do right by the world. And you know the hell of it is, when we first met, we were both working on our masterpieces, the novel that was going to shake the world. 20 odd years later, when we met up again, neither of us had published that masterpiece. Yeah, it is a little bit regretful, but not everything that you attempt in life must come to fruition. Sometimes you attempt things just for the experience, just for the dream, just for the uh, thrill of it. In the end, even though we have almost seemingly drifted apart uh, after that summer camp, fate has kindly brought us back together, and we have even worked together on various projects uh, and had many, many stimulating late night conversation on dreams and experiences and reminiscing of the past and things that we want to write, things we want to read. For the upcoming Johnny Tiger documentary, if you follow the documentary all the way to the end, you will hear the theme song of the documentary, which uh, was co-written by me and Remy. The lyrics was all me, the vocal was me, the rest, instrumentation, the editing, the sound engineering, that's all Remy. Remy is an amazing, amazing sound engineer who can do all kind of magical, wizard-like things with computer and keyboard and music, even though he has very little knowledge in how to play instruments and the theories behind music. I still think that is so cool and so hard for me to understand. Friendship is a wonderful thing, especially when you find someone who is so steadfast and so down to earth as a human being, whom you can reconnect after so many years and find that even though you both are older, you both have gone through ups and downs, and you both have been thrown down by life and picked up again. You are both older, wiser, a little bit battered, and a little bit more cynical, but you're still able to reconnect and make things work. It is truly a blessing to have Remy and his wonderful family in our life. I hope you have enjoyed this little monologue of my friendship with Remy, and Kitten and I will be back again tomorrow for Music Monday with Johnny Tiger and Kitten. For now, have a good night, and let's welcome November together.